Well, maybe we should start. Good to see everybody here. Uh, it's names and faces I recognize, and that's always a good thing. But there are quite a few people I don't think have been to this class before. So a big welcome for you folks. Let me just say a word or two about this evening. Big one is Ajahn Barry Subhaddo is zooming into the class from Spain. Uh, and uh, and he's a long-time member of the class before he became a monk. He and I jointly looked after the class. He has trained in the Zen tradition. He has become a monk at Amravati for plenty of years. And now, as you can probably guess, he's a layperson, but he's still a Buddhist. And the good thing is, he's come back to, he doesn't like me to say teach the class tonight, to lead the class tonight.
Thank you.
So
you're learning, Colin.
Where is he going to lead us? Well, he can tell you more about this, but what usually happens is at some let's go right to the very end. At the very end, we'll have a period of questions and answers and discussion and whatnot. And somebody asked me a question to ask Ajahn Barry. I'm going to save that for the end. It's not directly related to meditation, but it's a good question nonetheless. So that at the end. If in the meantime, and this would be very helpful, if in the meantime anybody has got a question they really want to pop through to Ajahn Barry, please put it in the chat box. I'm looking at the chat box now, and Wongdu is behind the scenes. Wongdu is the Bodhisattva who's kind of running this evening. On Zoom, so please feel free to send through a chat. And there again, if there's any techie problems you've got this evening to do with volume or anything like that, let us know. If we can help, we'll try. We'll try. So yes, welcome to Ajahn Barry, and please lead the class in any way.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Wongdu, and thank you, Buddhist Society. It's great to see you. Great to see you all. Probably a few less this time than usual, but I hear there are a couple of important football games on tonight. So anyway, as Colin says, I don't like to even think of myself as a teacher, because I don't teach. I suggest, you wouldn't, if you ask somebody, if you ask the policeman the way to the nearest cafe, you wouldn't call him a teacher. He would be telling you the way, and hopefully I'm not leading you up the garden path. But I'm encouraging mindfulness. And this isn't the type of mindfulness that I personally considered to be mindfulness. And I think a lot of people also do practice self-consciousness. I am doing this. I am walking slowly or mindfully, or I am cleaning my teeth. Great practice. But it's a bit too I am. But if we learn to be in the present moment while we're doing these things, we can notice that the conditioned mind ceases for a short time, not into a dumb, stupid, or vacuous place, but just into open awareness. Now, this open awareness is what I see as mindfulness. So my encouragement is always to come back to that place whenever we remember. And that means using the body or the breath or the sounds or the sound of silence. And the reason that we so-called use, it's not the best word, we notice, is because it's here right now. It cannot lie to us. The mind will always trick us because our conditioning is so deep. We have so many views and opinions, and we think we can solve the problem with the problem. We think we can awaken by using the problem to awaken. But I don't think that's the way it works. To find that place of true mindfulness, true awareness, open consciousness, bare attention, call it what you will. Get to know it, get to trust it. We need to learn naturally to trust it, because normally we dismiss it as nothing. It's just, it's just space. And we're so used to trying to control the world, ourselves, other people, instead of just knowing, being in the present moment, knowing the way it is right now. So generally, the first period, I'll do a guided sweeping meditation, which is saying, become aware of the head, or the ears, or the fingernails. Well, for instance, the fingernails, I've never managed to become aware of my fingernails. But I can know how the mind stops in that place, unless I'm projecting pictures or ideas. But if there is just open awareness, there is a stopping in awareness. So whatever place we go to in the body, it's not about the body itself, it's not about the breath, it's not about listening or the sound of silence. It's as if it gives us a door into that place of open, spacious awareness. So don't worry if you cannot be aware of your body. Your body might disappear. Great. But you can be aware of that spaciousness. Don't worry about, I spent many years trying to calm the mind. It worked for a short while, but then it's a bit like a watch spring that's overwound. Suddenly, boing, you're all over the place. If we worry about that, then we're just adding petrol to the fire. So just naturally come back to the body, or the breath, or the sound of silence. Just return. No commenting, no judging, just return. So the first period, I'll give this sweeping guided meditation. The second period, we'll do 2 periods of 20, 25 minutes. I'll just give the occasional reminder, because after a while, the mind tends to get a bit more active and we get trapped into our dreams, our thoughts, views, and opinions, and off we go without realizing it. So really all we can do here is to be aware. It's no big deal. Just notice when the mind wanders, the moment you notice, you're already back. Mindfulness is already established. So the more we do that, the more natural that becomes, until it becomes our default way of just, the mind will always do. The mind is divisive by nature. But the more we learn to return, the more we trust in being in the present moment, the more natural it becomes. So I'll just do a short, very short introductory chant, paying respects to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. So at the end of the 2 periods of sitting, meditation, there'll be a chance for questions. And I really encourage you to ask questions because, you know, it's good to be sure, even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, or even give your own experience, your own insights, which is helpful to everybody. So sitting in a posture that's helpful to your awareness, whether it's on a cushion, on a chair, in an armchair, it really doesn't matter. As long as you can somehow use it to, you know, when you start to go off in a dream, the body just starts to slacken in one way or the other. And this is just reminding you, nothing particularly holy about this, just looking for techniques and ways to remind ourselves to come back to the present moment. So being in that meditation posture, whatever it is, meditation needs to be in the 4 postures: walking, sitting, standing, and lying down. So don't think of it as being exclusive to sitting cross-legged or whatever. It needs to be in all postures. And just bringing the whole of your body from the tips of the toes to the top of the head into your awareness, not projecting pictures, not commenting or thinking about the body, just being openly aware. Now putting your attention, your mindfulness, your awareness on the top of the head. As I say, it doesn't matter if you cannot be aware of the top of the head, but you can be aware of the cessation of our neurotic, conditioned thinking. Now letting that awareness spread down from the top of the head, down the back of the head. And the sides of the head, the temples. Becoming aware of the ears and the earlobes. Just being that open, spacious awareness. There's nothing to do or get or become here. It's just being that awareness. Now becoming aware of the forehead. And the eyebrows. And the eyes. And the nose and the nostrils. Becoming aware of the mouth, the lips, inside the mouth, and the tongue. Now becoming aware of the chin and the jaw and the cheeks of the face. Now bringing into your awareness the whole of your face, the whole of the head. Not projecting pictures, just letting it be in that awareness, just the way it is. Now letting that awareness spread down to the neck, right around the neck and the throat. And into the shoulders. And down the arms to the elbows, the top of the arms, the sides of the arms, the backs of the arms. From the elbows down to the wrists. And the hands, the palms of the hands, the thumbs, the fingers, the joints of the fingers, the backs of the hands, the knuckles, the fingers, the tips of the fingers, and the fingernails. Now bringing into your awareness your hands, your arms, the shoulders, the neck, the head and the face. Just knowing that spacious awareness. So I've said, when the mind wanders, just gently, with loving kindness, come back to a particular part of the body or the whole of the body. So now becoming aware of the back from the shoulders down through the shoulder blades, the sides of the trunk, down the spine, the arch of the back, the small of the back, the coccyx, the buttocks, and the hips. Now bringing into your awareness the whole of your back, the shoulders, the hands, the arms, the neck, the face and the head. Now becoming aware of the chest, from the shoulders down the chest, through the rib cage, through the lungs, to the diaphragm, the sides of the trunk, the stomach, the belly, the solar plexus, the navel, intestines, down to the groin and the hips. And bringing the whole of your body, the front of the body, the back of the body, the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the neck, the face and the head into your awareness, into that open, spacious awareness. Just gently come back when the mind wanders. That's what it does. It's not a problem. Just come back. Just be awareness. Now letting that awareness spread down the legs from the hips down to the knees. And from the knees down to the ankles. And from the ankles into the feet, the soles of the feet, the heels of the feet, the balls of the feet, the toes, the sides of the feet, the tops of the feet, the joints of the toes, the tips of the toes, and the toenails. Now bring the whole of your body, from the tips of the toes to the top of the head, into that awareness. Into that open spaciousness. And becoming aware of the breath. Just the gentle breathing, not following the breath, not concentrating on the breath in any particular place, but just the natural, normal, gentle breathing. Listening to the natural sound of silence, just that, not going out to sounds, but just listening. And noticing how our conditioned mind stops when we are aware of the listening, of the sound of silence, or the breath, or the body, or a part of the body. I'll ring the bell in a couple of minutes. Please don't think in terms of the meditation coming to an end. It's just meditation in movement. There is no difference. There is only now. There is only the present moment to practice, to be. So there really is no reason why we can't be aware while stretching, while listening, but living from this place of awareness, of spaciousness, then we can start to understand the Buddha's teachings instead of doing them as doing what the lists say, but being them, being those lists. Knowing what suffering is, knowing the causes of suffering, the Four Noble Truths this is, knowing the cessation of suffering. When we find this, our true refuge, this place of pure presence, of just the way it is, there is a cessation of suffering. It's not so difficult to find if we truly look and we truly persevere in just remembering. So instead of making these things like this meditation a special thing, I mean, obviously it's very supportive, but it needs to be brought into our ordinary everyday life. Then there is a true transformation, a transformation from our deluded self, from this separation that we've brought about by living purely from the intellect, ignoring, dismissing the intuitive side, our true nature. Now, this isn't about getting rid of thoughts, it's getting rid of the intellect. Not at all. It's the best gift, so to speak, that humans have. But it is the most terrible master when it takes over completely, which it generally has done. So we suffer because we're ignoring the truth of the way it is. We're living in an illusion. So if we sit now for another, when I say sit, I mean formally meditate for another 20, 25 minutes. I'll give the occasional reminder, but make a small adhitthana. Adhitthana means like a small determination, just to notice, just to remember, to come back using the body or the breath, the sound of silence. It's all we need to do. And then the healing can take place. The more we interfere, the less chance there is of this healing, this oneness being known. It's like having a saw that we keep picking or playing with. Just be, and things will start to make sense. The teachings will become like seeds that we don't intellectually answer, but the seeds are placed and they will germinate when the time is right. Okay, so we'll sit for another period. So don't concentrate on one particular part. Move the attention around to different parts of the body or the breath or the sound of silence. Awareness is awareness. It's not about concentration. So just gently come back when the mind wanders. Don't comment. Just come back and be in that spacious awareness. Nothing to do or get or become. Just re-establishing that awareness, that mindfulness, even if it only lasts for a second. Just come back. Just come back. If the mind is dragging you around, experiment with different parts of the body, or experiment with the breath, being with the breath, or the sound of silence. And notice, this is the most important part, notice how it is when we are present, how the heart mind is in that moment. Just noticing what happens when we are with the breath, just the natural breathing. How is your mind? How is your heart mind at that moment? always experimenting. What anchors the mind most easily? My feet, my knees, my hands, any part of the body or the whole of the body? Or as I say, the breath or the sound of silence. Just listen. Listen intently, not to the outside sounds. And notice, how is your mind in that moment? How is your heart mind in that moment? Noticing feelings of discomfort. If you need to move, move, but look at it first. Look at those feelings and ask yourself, what are those feelings? Are they mine? And then if you need to, move, but by responding, not just reacting to every moment of discomfort, always looking, always questioning. What is that feeling? But never answering. The answers will come of their own accord. So does anybody have any questions on what I've been encouraging, or ways that they practice that they'd like to share? Whatever. Because as I said before, it's very useful to everybody to hear, because we all think we're individuals on this path, but we're all basically going through the same thing, slightly different conditionings, but it's a human problem, or the problem humans have got themselves into by ignoring the way it is, but trying to. We're all control freaks, or all self junkies. We think we have to have a self to be happy. Well, it's quite the opposite. You can have highs with the self and lows, but once you see through this illusion of a separate self, there is a equanimity, a contentment, a wisdom not of how to fix things in the world, but that by being aware, responding to the world, not reacting to the world. So I quite often like to say this little Indian, pain is compulsory, but suffering from pain is optional. Suffering is compulsory, but suffering from suffering is optional. Because the problems that we face in life, the difficulties, are what we add on top of the way it is. And that's the problem, whether it's psychological or physical. Many doctors will say that 20% of the pain you feel is real. The other 80% is what the mind adds on top of it. And that's very much how we live. We add sankharas on top of things the way they are. So anyway, does anybody have anything to add or say or question?
Hi, Barry. Could I ask a question or give an observation? A couple of weeks ago, Colin led me for the first time in some metta practice, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And then I went and I practiced on my own. And when I was thinking about the people that I was giving metta to and thinking about the suffering that they were going through, then I found quite uncontrollably that I had tears, or a tear coming down my cheek whilst I was practicing. And since then, I've been quite wary about going back to it, because I didn't know whether I was being self-indulgent, getting too carried away. I couldn't explain what was happening, because the emotion and the tear were somewhat dislocated. Like your thoughts on that?
There's a very nice, as Colin was said initially, I spent 12 years in the Zen tradition. There's a very nice story. There's somebody dies, and one of his friends is a very famous Zen teacher who goes to the funeral, and the teacher, this famous Zen teacher, starts to cry. So somebody says to him, "What are you doing? You're a famous Zen teacher. Why are you crying?" He says, "It's because I am a famous Zen teacher that I can cry." There's nothing wrong with these emotions. The problem really is when we start to worry about it, when we start to add to it, when we start to comment and say, oh, I shouldn't do that, and I'm becoming self-indulgent. Well, just come back, as I've been encouraging, to the now, and that will give you clarity on that tearfulness. And then instead of hanging on to it and making it a problem, it will pass. Maybe you'll cry again next time. Maybe not. But don't make a problem of it.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Good.
I've got a question for you in the chat box, Barry. By the way, everybody can unmute, I hope. You can unmute if you want to, but also send the chat through. So here's a chat from Barbara. Thank you for being with us. I second that. You referred a few times to heart-mind, Could you talk a little more about it, please?
Yeah, I use it in a dual sense. One is, we tend to think of the heart as the feeling, emotional side. I'm using it that way, but also the heart of the mind. When I say come back to that open, spacious awareness, I see that as the heart, the center of the mind, the heart of the mind. So nothing special. I'm just using it in that way because the last question, we tend to think there's something wrong with us having emotions. But not at all. So I'm using the heart in that sense and the sense of being the center, the heart, the very heart of the mind. I don't know if that helps at all. This is all very difficult to put into words. I'm trying to, when I give a guided meditation, I'm talking from what I'm experiencing. And it's it's difficult to put that into precise words. We have to experience it for ourselves.
Thank you very much.
I hope that helps at all, Barbara.
Yes, it does.
Good.
It gives it a totally different way of looking at it. Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
Talking about problems, I've got a question that came up last time. I think it was Meg asked me to ask you the following. Now, you've lived in spiritual communities for a long time, Amaravati, for example. And so the sort of question is, I guess, in any group of people, including monasteries and spiritual communities, people have different disagreements and so on. And how do you cope with disagreements and problems and whatnot in a situation like a spiritual community?
Yeah, that's it's an interesting question. I can honestly say that in the communities I've been in, there has never been any real problem. One of the reasons is because, if we're a bunch of people and there's all different types of people, and sometimes somebody gets on your nerves. Well, we're encouraged first to ask yourself before you go out to them, do you have that problem? Is it their problem? Do you have that problem? You've got to look at it as clearly as possible. And that normally takes away the emotional response. You know, for myself, I would look at that, and then maybe a day later, if I needed to say something to somebody, well, a day, it might take a week, I would say it then, when there is no emotional force behind that. It's a very tricky question for me, because I'm actually not aware of any. There's obviously people say things and gets on your nerves, but yeah, I can't recall any real difficulties. Can I ask, have you had any experience of that? I mean, have you heard of anything happening like that?
Barry, it was me that asked it, and it's difficult to talk about it without kind of giving away confidences. But
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of what I'm observing going on, rather than being anything to do with me myself. And it makes me think it's not really how a spiritual place should be when there's a fight going on.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just not a good place to be. Maybe that's your answer.
Yeah. Can I ask, is this a traditional monastic setup, or
No, it's not Buddhist.
Okay. See, that's the problem around the Buddhist thing. There are so many rules, and you're subservient to a person who's ordained 1 minute in front of you. So those things, it's very unlikely it will happen in a traditional setting. But obviously in a lay setting, people don't have those rules to support them or for them to reflect on their actions or emotions. I mean, I don't think it's conducive to be in any particular environment that is heavy, that there is heavy stuff going on.
No.
You know, because there are plenty of other places that it's not happening.
Yeah.
And generally it's the more traditional setups.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah, sorry I can't be more specific.
No, it's really helpful, and I don't want to say why it's helpful, but thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got a little add-on to this, and this involves somebody who you certainly know, Ajahn Barry, and maybe some other old timers do as well. So I have a good Dharma friend who is a Buddhist nun, and she's called Sister Jyotika, and she and I go back a long way. She used to be which was a lay woman, another member of the meditation class of the Buddhist Society. Well, she is a nun, and she used to be a nun at Amravati, and then she became a bhikkhuni in the Taiwanese tradition, and now she is a Tibetan nun, and she lives in Spain. Now, Jyotika and I go back a long way, and when she moved to Amravati, I once had a chat to her, and I said, how's it going? How's it going at Amravati? And she said to me, hey, Colin, you're married, aren't you? Well, she knew I was. So I said, and so she said, you know what married life is like? And I said, yes. She said, well, living at Amravati is like being married to 30 other people at the same time. So wherever, it's like these sorts of problems are absolutely universal between any groups of people. It's as simple as that. And as difficult as that. But I thought that was enough. Now, has anybody else sent anything through in the chat box? I don't think so. Any questions at all? Or things to talk about in general?
Hi. Hi. I don't know if you can hear me now. Hello. I was just about to put something in the chat room, but I will speak it now. I just wanted to thank you for the practice. It truly, it was quite, I say wonderful. It's not really the word for it. You touched on something when you said you can't put into words what it is that happens during practice, and I very much I can resonate with that. You know, when you said as well, when the mind, you try to control so many things, we're used to doing that, and sometimes even myself, you know, at times I notice that there's moments of just this, I can't explain it, it's just this.
Yeah.
And when that happens, sometimes the periods are much longer. When I say periods, you know, it's just so. And then all of a sudden, the mind is, oh, what's going on? You know, and the thoughts start to jump back in. But you become, the more you practice, the more you become aware. And for me to bring myself back to just here again is always the breath. You can always, it's always there. So that helps for me, and you know, maybe some others, but it's always the breath, and then the feeling in the body is like your body obviously moves with your breath, so it becomes a flow, and that just helps settle me back in when the mind starts to jump. Yeah. Thank you.
You know, that's very good. You know, the opportunities for being aware are endless.
Yeah.
Every sensation, sitting on the seat, feeling your chin now. If you feel your chin, you'll notice that in that moment, the mind is at peace. That peace is not dumb or stupid or vacuous. It's aware. You can respond. You know, we need to take this so it doesn't last for just 1 second, into our life, into everything we do. When we get up and leave this meeting, when we go to work in the morning, we're just aware of our walking, we're aware of our talking, we're talking to the boss or whoever, but from that place of awareness, the more we do that, the more... I made up a little story. You know, life is like walking on hot coals. And that's the way it is for us. That's all we know, so it's normal. But through a true mindfulness practice, we step onto the grass verge, and that's really comfortable. But through our habits, our conditioning, we go back onto the coals. But the more we go onto that grass verge, after a while, we'll say, well, why the hell would I want to go back onto the hot coals? But we need to bring it into our life. Always, you know, talking to somebody, watching the TV even. Just come back, feel your seat on the cushion, know your breath. Listen to the sound of silence. The opportunities, there's nothing that's not an opportunity. But we tend to think that it needs to be special. I need to make this special. I need to go on a retreat. No, I'm not putting anything down. But if we use it as an escape and a special thing to do without bringing it into our ordinary life, then it's just like being a Sunday Christian, you know, acting all over the place through the week and being holier than thou on a Sunday. It's not going to make any changes.
Mm-hmm. I think the retreats are great, but like you say, I think you should, you know, be in the queue in Sainsbury's and be able to, you know, just be. It isn't about going somewhere. It's here. Yeah.
I've been through the queue thing. I used to hate queues, you know. But then I realized I just had to be with my feet while standing there, and everything changed. My whole attitude changed when I was brought back to this present moment. I could see the illusion that I was creating, this samsaric world of suffering that was just normal. It's what I did. But the moment I saw through that, you have a different perspective on this. You know, you start to understand, okay, I'm starting to see the world I'm creating through the world that is, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's maybe getting time to pack up and maybe even go to bed. So here's a question which is relevant to all meditators. How to deal with drowsiness, asks Julia.
Again, it's something that I think this is extremely important, because I've seen many people, many actually senior bhikkhus get trapped into this one, because you can start to nod off, fall asleep, and actually believe that you're meditating. So what I have practiced in the past is I sit with my eyes. I generally sit with my eyes slitted open, but I might open them wide. I might put more muscle tone into my body. My hands I keep in a formal Buddhist posture. I might put a bit more pressure there. I'll try all sorts of things. If they don't work, I'll give up. And that will often allow me to wake up. So it's really a matter of persevering and experimenting what works best for you. It might be better just to get up from your seat and walk a few paces mindfully. It might be better to splash a bit of cold water on your face. Try, do things, but don't, I don't want to get you to make a big problem of this. Don't make a big problem of it, but don't give in to it as well. Just try different things to wake up. Does that make any sense to you, Julia?
Thank you very much. That's wonderful. That's what I was trying to do, actually.
Yeah.
Open my eyes and move around a little.
Yeah, that's certainly what I've done. And I've been through big problems many years ago of falling asleep. And in the end, I've really fought it in a sense. And, you know, try anything. And then suddenly what happened with me, I was really, really struggling with this. And I gave up. And it was as if a wall crumbled in front of me.
So when you say you gave up, what do you mean? You mean sort of mentally you kind of gave up? Or?
Because I'd tried everything and it wasn't working, I just decided to give up and go to sleep. But then I completely woke up. You know, it can really take you by surprise, because often we're putting petrol on the fire. We're making a problem out of what shouldn't be a problem. All I'm saying here is try everything, and if it doesn't work, just let go. Just let go. But
thank you.
The difficulty is, sorry about this. You can't make deals with the Dharma. You can't say, if I give up, I'll wake up. It doesn't work that way. You know, but just try, just experiment. But try not to some people get in such a mess over this. every time they sit down to meditate, they fall asleep, because that's what their consciousness thinks. It thinks sleep time. So don't fall into that trap.
No, I'm not that bad. Thanks.
Good,
Thank you.
good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I wish you well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions? Somebody has just said, thanks for a super session. They've got to run now. Thanks so much.
Okay.
And maybe we should all run. Thank you very much, Ajahn Barry. There again, folks, it's 8:05 where I am, and most of us are. It's 9:05 in Spain where Ajahn Barry is. So I think it probably is time to wind things up. Now, the good news is Ajahn Barry is going to be back in 2 weeks' time to lead the last class before the Christmas break. So 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for coming tonight. There will, of course, be a class next week. So next week, I guess I'll be doing it. 2 weeks' time, Ajahn Barry, and then it's Christmas for about 3 weeks. And tell you more about the Christmas break next week, or you can look online and see it. Thank you very much, Ajahn Barry, for coming tonight. Thanks, everybody, for being here.
My pleasure.